Good morning. Welcome to Second Unitarian Church. It's a joy to have you with us this morning. Please rise in body and spirit and join me in singing our opening hymn, number 100, I've Got Peace Like a River. I've got peace. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. Joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like the ocean. Like the ocean. I've got love like the ocean in my soul. I've got love like the ocean. I've got love like the ocean. I've got love like the ocean in my soul. Got pain like an arrow. Pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. Got tears like the raindrops. Got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. But I've got strength like the mountain. I've got strength like the mountain. I've got strength like the mountain in my soul. I've got strength like the mountain. I've got strength like the mountain. I've got strength like the mountain in my soul. I've got peace like a river. Got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. In my soul.
Good morning. Welcome to Second Unitarian Church. I am Carla Tebby, a member of the Board of Trustees, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. Today, we're in person at the Admiral at the Lake, the 2U Sanctuary, and continuing to meet virtually using Zoom. We're glad you're here, whichever way you're attending. If you're in the sanctuary and would benefit from hearing assistance, we have devices available, as well as noise-canceling headphones for both adults and children with noise sensitivities. Please see our tech team in the back. As we navigate varying needs for health and wellness, particularly related to COVID, we welcome you to wear a mask. We have masks available at the table as you enter the building. We especially welcome newcomers and visitors this morning. Finding a new community and making new connections can be challenging. Please know that we're excited to have you and looking forward to getting to know you. If you would like, there are blue mugs available during coffee hour you can use to signal to others that you would like them to come up and say hello. If you're not sure what to say, the Drum Allies group has come up with a question each week to help spark conversation. You can find the question posted on the coffee hour table. Additionally, we always need help in the kitchen after coffee hour, and that's a great place to see old friends and make new ones while lending a helping hand. Our worship today is led by our ministerial intern, Heike Eghardt, along with John Broom as worship associate. Music is provided by the 2U Choir, Don McGregor, Jess Vogt, and Director of Music, Carl Kennedy. Our time together requires a large group of people who make possible the worship, the music, and the technical production. You can find many announcements about what's going on at church in your order of service. We encourage you to take it home when you exit the sanctuary. Now I'm going to say a few words about why I give to 2U. And for this part, I'm going to call up some reinforcements, my husband Michael and my son Ryan. Here are the top 10 reasons why we give to 2U, David Letterman style.
Number 10, the music, being able to be in a world-class choir directed by our very own and talented Carl Kennedy. Number 9, 2U's principled stance on social justice. Number 8, attending church in this building with the beautiful architecture and so much history, and of course, the anvil.
Number 7, the staff, Brandon, Brittany, Carl, Heike, Reverend Allison, and Riley. We appreciate their work so much. Number 6, Reverend Jason. We are so blessed to have his leadership, his thought-provoking sermons, and attentive pastoral care. Number 5, all the social activities, of which there are plenty. Some to mention movies, game nights, dinners, festivals like Fall Fest, and many other outings. Number 4, the ability to give back through committees, including for me, hospitality, membership, and teaching the children.
Number 3, youth programs. My brother and I have all attended classes downstairs, and this June I get to go to Boston. Number 2, the snacks at coffee hour. And the number 1 reason to you is the people, in other words, all of you.
Okay. As we greet our neighbor, it is vital that we do this with the utmost focus on consent and comfortability. Whatever method of greeting you do, please ask the other person if they feel comfortable with the same level of contact. This is the time to take a moment and greet your neighbor.
to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Good morning, friends. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, a community of children, youth, and adults, a people of many beliefs and traditions bound not by a specific list of things we believe, but the values we share where we keep love in the center. So whether you're joining us for the first time or for the 1,000th time, you are welcome right here. Whether you believe in God some of the time, all of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome right here. Whatever your race, whomever you love, whichever way you move in the world, however much money is in your pocket, you are welcome right here. So I invite you, whenever you feel ready, to take a breath in and out. And we can do that again. In and out. And now, please rise in body or spirit to join in singing our congregational hymn, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, winds set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
So please remain risen and join me in reciting our covenant. The words are on the screens. We covenant to build a community that challenges us to grow and empowers us to honor the truth within ourselves. We will be generous with our gifts and honest in our communication, holding faithful to a love that embraces both diversity and conflict. Called by our living tradition, we will nurture spirituality within a vision of the eternal, living out our inner convictions through struggles for justice and acts of compassion. Please be seated.
Before we light our chalice this morning, I have a brief announcement, a very brief announcement. Following important feedback from members of our church, we are having a special congregational meeting following the town hall we had a couple weeks ago to vote on the proposal to provide housing in our building to an immigrant family. This will be on March 30th following the service. All are welcome, though only members can vote. Please join us for this important meeting. You can find more information about this in your order of service. And now we're ready to light our chalices. In just a moment, Nolan here in the sanctuary and Harris at the Admiral will light our chalices, the symbol of our faith. We light our chalices this morning with these words by Reverend Molly Brewer. My beloved people, I cannot pretend, and so I will not tell you that everything is okay right now, that there is no reason to be angry, that you must be optimistic or at peace. I cannot pretend these things, and so I won't tell them to you. But now our chalice is lit, and so all I ask in this moment is that we remember the words of Rebecca Parker. There is a love. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all. By the light of our chalice, let us rest in this love.
Those young embody your spirit to join me at the chancel for the Time for All Ages. Welcome, everyone. It's great to see you all. I'm Brittany Morse, the Director of Faith Development, and today for our Time for All Ages, I have Jobson, a coming-of-age participant, joining me. So we are going to read you a book called Sometimes I Am Hot Lava.
Sometimes most of the time, I'm a regular kid. I have ups and downs. But sometimes, when I get mad, bubble, boil, erupt. I'm hot lava, fury, hot and explosive. Today, At breakfast, I was tired. Gracie was sitting in my chair again. Then I spilled milk on my pajamas. I tried to act like it was no big deal, but deep down, I was getting hot, like magma inside Earth's mantle. It's okay, I told myself. I tried to turn down the heat. Everybody spills. After breakfast, we played Volcano Run. I was running, fair and square. Then, woof. No, Winnie, I yelled. My fist clenched. My insides heated up. My magma was rising. Then Winnie gave me a lick. Then I would cool down. No one can stay mad when Winnie gives me kisses. Let's play basketball, I told Gracie. We hopped on our bikes and raced to the park. But then, bounce. I shot and I shot, not even close. My heart pounded. My magma bubbled. Why do they make everything for big kids? Bounce. Let's swing, buddy, said Gracie. No, I said. I heaved the ball. Want to look for bugs? She asked. No. I'm thirsty. Let's get a drink, Gracie said. No. My head felt dizzy. My magma boiled until 3, 2, 1. I erupted like a hot volcano. I don't want to swing. I don't want to look for bugs. I don't want to get a drink. I want to play basketball. I threw the ball as hard as I could. No. Crunch. Whack. I spewed molten rock over everything in my path. I wanted to throw things and stomp until everyone how mad I was. Then I looked at Gracie. She looked scared of me. I had to cool down. I'm taking a break, I said. I ran to the tree and sat down. What's wrong, Gracie asked. I took a deep breath. Calm, 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 I told myself. I want to play basketball, but it's too high. I kept my voice low and so I wouldn't heat up. Is your bike broken, she asked. I was breathing hard. Calm, calm, calm. I repeated. I bent some spokes, but I think I can fix them. I closed my eyes. What are you doing, said Gracie. I'm breathing in and out, I said. I'm thinking about my breath. Your breath? Yeah, it helps me calm down. Pretty soon, Gracie and I were both breathing slowly, in and out. I felt my shoulders relax. I felt my temperature drop. I took a really deep breath until 1, 2, 3. I wasn't hot lava anymore. I was just a buddy, a regular kid, as calm and cool as igneous rock. Sometimes when I get angry, I am hot lava, but I know what to do about it, and that's cool.
Thank you so much for reading, Jobson. So I want to know from you all, who has ever felt angry before? Adults can respond too. Yeah, I think all of us has felt angry before, and it is okay to feel angry. I would say that, yeah, I see your hands, just one moment. I would say that sometimes it's even good and appropriate and necessary to feel angry. And I want to point out that in this book, the narrator's sister, friend, Gracie, whoever he was playing with, she never said to him, "You're crazy, calm down, take a chill pill," right? She let him figure out what he needed in order to calm down, whether it was a few slow, deep breaths, acknowledging how he was feeling, getting a kiss from his dog. The important thing is to recognize when up and then doing what we need to do to help that it is okay and sometimes good and necessary to feel really big, angry feelings. I saw a couple of hands, maybe wanting to share a moment when you felt angry or a coping mechanism you have. So I'll go ahead and let a couple of those eager voices share. Lumi.
To take apart a Lego piece, it kind of hurts my hands.
Yeah, absolutely. I get angry in moments like that too. Thanks for sharing, Lumi. Sienna and then June. Sienna.
Um, uh, I sometimes get angry, but I don't know what I get angry about.
You don't know what you get angry about? Yeah, sometimes that's one of the hardest things is just to figure out why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling. Thanks for sharing. June.
So how do you get angry?
Yeah, different people have different triggers, and then different people have different coping mechanisms too, things that we can do in order to settle down. Yes, Charlie.
I spilled hot chocolate on my new sweater yesterday.
Make a lot of us angry. Did you have any coping mechanisms that helped you out?
I just kind of like sat outside and took a few deep breaths. Very sad.
Sat outside, took a few deep breaths. Thanks for sharing, Charlie. Okay, last share, and then we'll head to Ari. Marion.
In the middle of a bike ride, my bike chain just broke down.
Oh, goodness, that sounds scary too. I hope you were okay, Marion.
Just broke down when my sister was riding next to me, and it was annoying.
Annoying, absolutely. Did you have a way to acknowledge how you were feeling and move forward?
Deep breaths.
Yeah, deep breath seems like a really good approach. All right, everyone, thank you so much for taking a moment to talk about this and to acknowledge that sometimes we have angry feelings and that's okay. And we acknowledge them, we notice them, and then we do what we can to make ourselves feel better moving forward. All right, let's go ahead and sing the children to their classes.
Each year, we all make a commitment, a pledge to support the ministry of our church. In addition to this contribution, each Sunday, we take a collection so that we can share with those doing justice beyond our church community. While we are unable to come all together in person, you can still share your resources. To make your contribution, you can send a text to the number on the screen, which will be up when the music begins, or you can find it in your order of service. We will also pass collection plates around in the sanctuary. You're welcome to add your change, cash, or checks to the plates. For the month of March, we are sharing our plate with One Northside. And I now invite Curtis to share a few words about our partner organization.
Good morning, everyone. So today, your plate offering will support One Northside. Our mission is to build power for justice on Chicago's North Side, and our vision is a just and equitable community for all. 18 years ago, I was new at 2U, and I was running a small business and faced a devastating choice: cut staff to maintain healthcare benefits or keep my team and drop the benefits. With rising premiums, 20% jump, it was unsustainable. We had staff with chronic conditions like asthma, needing medication. Choosing people over insurance greed was easy, but the consequences were stark. Staff turned to emergency rooms, incurring bills they could not pay, and I felt helpless. Then, 2U members invited me to a Lakeview Action Coalition meeting, a predecessor to One Northside, on hospital charity care. I'd never been to a public meeting, and what I found was solidarity. I went from feeling despondent to feeling a sense of collective power. People cared about changing a healthcare system that made them poorer. I felt change was possible. That day changed me. I joined a healthcare task force at One Northside, driven to ensure everyone could have access to care without fear of debt, without having to choose between rent, healthcare, and utilities. Years later, Illinois did pass a uniform charity care bill expanding healthcare, or access to healthcare. I thank One Northside for their work, for making our community stronger, and for lasting relationships forged in those struggles for justice. And thank you for your generosity.
Now I invite you to join me in reading our offertory words. The words are printed in your order of service and are on the screen. This church is a community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm it and enable its participation in the larger world around us. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy.
I invite you now into a spirit of prayer and meditation. Let us start by breathing together. Take a breath in and out. Another one in and out. As always, we begin in thanks. Thankful for the breath in our lungs, the beauty of our earth, and the strength of this community. We hold in our hearts those who care for family in ill health, those who live with grief, those struggling with addiction or illness, seen and unseen. We are with you. For parents and teachers, and all those whose primary spiritual practice is caring for children, we are with you. We pray for our neighbors in prison, for those who are struggling to stay afloat in the midst of poverty, for immigrants and refugees finding new homes in our city among many. We are with you. We pray for all those living in harm's way. We pray for our planet and commit to work that will lead us away from the harms of climate change. We pray that wisdom, compassion, and empathy guide the leaders of our world. May they and we be instruments of a just and lasting peace. Our lives are blessed by those who are encountering the final stages of life. We offer prayers of comfort and care, knowing this journey is far from easy. Into this shared silence, I invite you now to speak the name of anyone you wish to lift up into the loving support of this community. Anke, Kirsten, Andreas, Caro. With our deepest compassion, let us hold in our hearts those named and unnamed, those remembered and those forgotten. Let it be so. Amen. Blessed be. During our ritual of lighting candles for our joys and concerns, we want to continue to take care of one another. In the 2U sanctuary, you're invited to come forward and light a candle. As you end your time of contemplation and candle lighting, we invite you to use the hand sanitizer available. For those at the Admiral, I invite you to come forward and to take a pebble from one bowl, hold it tightly, putting your energy into the stone, and then knowing your joys and sorrows to be shared by this community, let it go lightly into the other bowl. For those of us on Zoom, join us by sharing your joys and concerns in the chat window. You may come forward. hold all of these joys, celebrations, sorrows, and struggles close to our hearts. John, would you share our first reading, please?
Our first reading this morning is an excerpt from an article, Why Being Angry is Okay and Even Helpful, written by clinical health psychologist Jay Wu. Emotions are big exclamation points that our brains hold up to get our attention when something important is happening or when a problem needs to be solved. Fear warns us about danger. Grief tells us to seek support. Joy tells us we should continue doing whatever it is that makes us feel good. Anger is the same. It tells us that injustice is being enacted or that we need to take action to ensure survival of our body or our integrity. People can steal, assault, cheat, bully, and oppress without an ounce of anger. But without anger, the victims would shrug and continue to endure the injustice. So when you feel anger, that's okay. It's your brain's way of keeping you safe. You can and should investigate whatever triggered your anger and use your wise mind to evaluate the facts and take the best actions. But whatever those turn out to be, the initial spark of anger is always allowed. So, how can we use anger productively? Science says that we should heed its rallying cry because it tells us something must change. It's really okay to feel angry. When we communicate it clearly and let its motivating force fan our passion and guide our conscience, we can use anger to incite positive change.
Thank you, John. Our second reading is split into two parts. The first part is a brief reading from the Christian scriptures as found in the Gospel of John, chapter 2, verses 13 through 16. Jewish Passover celebration. So Jesus, Jerusalem. In the temple area, he saw merchants selling cattle, sheep, and doves for sacrifices. He also saw dealers at tables exchanging foreign money. Jesus made a whip from some ropes and chased them all out of the temple. He drove out the sheep and cattle, scattered the money changers' coins over the floor, and turned over their tables. Then, going over to the people who sold doves, he told them, "Get these things out of here. Stop turning my Father's house into a marketplace." The second part of our reading is a story attributed to the Hindu leader Mahatma Gandhi, who is probably best known for using nonviolent resistance to lead the successful campaign for India's independence from Britain. In this story, he teaches his grandson that anger can be a gift. Gandhi's grandson Arun had a lot of rage as a child. After he almost got himself into a fight, he ran to his grandfather and cried, "I'm angry all the time. I don't know what to do." Gandhi patted him on the back and said, "Get your spinning wheel and let us both spin some cotton." As they set up the little machine, Gandhi smiled as he prepared to spin a lesson along with the cotton. With his fingers turning the wheel, he told Arun, "I am glad to see you can be moved to anger. Anger is good. I get angry all the time." Arun responded, "I have never seen you angry." "Because I have learned to use my anger for good," Gandhi explained. Anger to people is like gas to the automobile. It fuels you to move forward and get to a better place. Without it, we would not be motivated to rise to a challenge. It is an energy that compels us to define what is just and unjust. Giving another analogy, Gandhi said, "When we channel electricity intelligently, we can use it to improve our life. But if we abuse it, we could die." So as with electricity, we must learn to use anger wisely for the good of humanity. Let us hear our anthem. Thank you, choir, and Carl. Your music is such a gift. So, I don't know about you, but whenever I turn on the news these days, it is only a matter of time before my blood begins to boil, as the saying goes. Not like Buddy in the story for our Time for All Ages this morning. Over the course of the last couple months, the following has almost become a ritual for me. Every night, in an attempt to prepare myself for the inevitable onslaught of outrageous claims and lies that make up the news these days, I fix myself a cup of chamomile tea, I take a deep breath, and I tell myself, tonight will be different. It just will be different from last night. Because surely, surely I should be able to keep my cool for 1 hour. After all, how much worse can things possibly have gotten in the last 24 hours? With that in mind, I turn on the TV, only to be confronted yet again with a seemingly endless stream of injustices, with the destruction of institutions that provide essential services that ensure the survival of millions of people both here and abroad, with the terror inflicted on marginalized communities, with the callousness of the so-called leaders taking those actions, with the threat those leaders pose to constitutionally guaranteed rights and the principles of democratic self-governance. Needless to say, my attempts to stay calm and collected usually don't even last until the first commercial break. And there is no amount of chamomile tea that can tamp down my anger. Believe me, I have tried. If any of this sounds familiar, no, you are not alone. That I have a tendency to get mad at myself for getting mad in the first place. In a lot of ways, that is not surprising, though. From a very young age, I was taught that showing anger or expressing outrage was unacceptable, especially for a girl. In my attempts to conform to these cultural norms and expectations, I eventually internalized the message that feeling anger is bad and should be avoided at all costs. That message was amplified by the teachings of the religious tradition that I grew up in. Plentiful were the reminders that we're supposed to be slow to anger, or if we do get angry, we're not supposed to let the sun go down on our anger. But really, ideally, we wouldn't get angry at all if we wanted to be considered good Christians. After all, Jesus didn't call the hot-headed or those with a short temper blessed. No, that label was reserved for the meek, the merciful, and the peacemakers. I suspect that most of us have internalized similar messages to varying degrees. And I wonder how much those messages help or hinder us from meeting the demands of this moment in time. Yet again, I find myself wrestling with the question whether the anger and outrage I am feeling are compatible with the teachings of my current faith tradition. After all, the recent Article 2 changes explicitly call us to put love at the center of Unitarian Universalism. So, am I failing Unitarian Universalism? Or is there room in our faith for anger and love to coexist? My answer to this is an unequivocal yes. There is room in Unitarian Universalism to hold both anger and love. That both anger and love have a critical role to play in the way we live our faith, especially in our work for justice, transformation, and collective liberation. So let's unpack this. Let's start with some of the cultural assumptions about anger. Anger gets a bad rap because we falsely equate it with aggressive or violent behavior, when in reality, it is an emotion. As such, anger is just as valid as other emotions that usually are viewed in a much more positive light, like joy, happiness, or awe, for example. In fact, anger is a very useful element in our emotional toolbox. We heard this in our first reading. Anger functions as a warning system. It alerts us that something is deeply wrong, that our rights or our values are being violated, that our integrity is being threatened, that an injustice is being enacted. Anger is a call to action. It tells us that something must change. With that in mind, rather than condemning or suppressing it, we should honor it as sacred. Now, as I mentioned earlier, expectations regarding anger are often mirrored and amplified in religious contexts. The message is that anger is undesirable and that we need to suppress it if we truly want to live into the tenets of our faith. We should be loving, caring, and peaceful if we want to be considered good people of faith. There is very little room for anger in this narrative. And yet, the examples from the Christian and Hindu traditions in our second reading tell a slightly different story, even though traditionally, both Jesus and Gandhi are held up as paragons of the meek and mild and the peaceful. I think it is safe to say that Jesus was angry when he overturned the tables of the money changers and merchants and drove them out of the temple. And Gandhi openly admits to his grandson that he gets angry all the time. It is vital, though, that we understand what kind of anger we're talking about here. This is not the kind of anger that is born out of petty personal grievances. It is not the kind of anger that some of our elected officials display night after night on the news. Instead, it is the kind of anger that is sparked by injustice and fueled by a desire for collective liberation and transformation. It is the kind of holy or righteous anger that is the driving force behind efforts to make the world a more just and equitable place for all. Gandhi is explicit about this in his conversation with his grandson. He tells him, "I am glad to see you can be moved to anger. Anger is good. Without it, we would not be motivated to rise to a challenge. It is an energy that compels us to define what is just and unjust. We must learn to use anger wisely for the good of humanity." In the case of Jesus clearing the temple courts, it is not quite as obvious where his anger is coming from. On the surface, it might seem that he has a personal grudge against the money changers and merchants. But that is ignoring the historic context in which this story played out. We have to remember that in the first century, the territory around the Mediterranean Sea, where Jesus' ministry took place, was subjected to Roman rule. That meant that religious institutions and the people who worked there were tied into the political and economic system of the Roman Empire, an extremely oppressive and exploitative system that caused a lot of suffering for the people in the occupied territory. So in this story, Jesus' anger is not directed at the individual merchants and money changers, but at the system that they were a part of. Thus, his actions are motivated by holy anger rather than by personal grudges. So, where does this leave us? How do we, as Unitarian Universalists, respond to the challenges of our time? How do we engage our anger and outrage constructively in a way that also heeds the call to put love at the center of our faith. I would offer that, first of all, we should give ourselves permission to be angry at what is playing out in this country without feeling guilty about it. We should acknowledge that what is going on is not okay, and we should allow ourselves to embrace our outrage as a sacred catalyst for change. And then we put our holy anger to work. We find ways to resist. Now, resistance comes in all shapes and sizes. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to this. Let me say this again. Resistance comes in all shapes and sizes. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to this. That is actually a good thing in light of the current administration's unprecedented and brazen assault on marginalized communities, civil liberties, constitutionally guaranteed rights, and on the institutions that ensure the functioning of democracy. To name but a few of the myriad of challenges we are facing. We need a multitude of creative strategies to respond to these challenges. And that means everybody has something to offer and everybody has a role to play. Depending on your life circumstances, skills, and interests, this can take a variety of forms. Going to protests, writing letters to the editor, contacting your elected officials to hold them accountable, going to town hall meetings, providing shelter for members of communities that are being targeted by those in power, making financial contributions to civil rights organizations, offering pro bono legal expertise. The list goes on. There are a couple things to keep in mind here. First of all, know that nobody can do all the things all the time, and that's okay. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the seemingly endless barrage of crises and existential threats clamoring for your attention, know that that is intended. The chaos and the uncertainty are the point. So is the cruelty. History has taught us that authoritarian regimes use this as a tool to quash dissent and to break the will of the people to fight back. One way of dealing with this is to pick one or two issues that are close to your heart and focus on those. And then trust that somebody else will work on the issues that you don't have capacity for, because those are the ones that are near and dear to them. Remember, this is collective work. You're not in this alone. Also, keep in mind that this is a marathon, not a sprint. It is absolutely vital that we use our resources and energy wisely to avoid the risk of burnout and to make the fight for justice and collective liberation sustainable. So if you need to take a step back and rest for a while, please do so. Last but not least, let us be mindful that not everybody is in a position to take public action. For those of us who are members of communities that are currently under attack, remember, your personal safety comes first. For those of us who hold identities that afford us a certain amount of privilege and power, now is the time to step up and leverage that privilege and power for the common good. Let us meet this moment in time by putting our holy anger to good use and engaging the love that is at the center of our faith. By speaking truth to power, by showing up for one another, by caring for the most vulnerable among us, by standing up to the bullies, by refusing to go along to get along, because sometimes setting boundaries is the loving thing to do. And last but not least, by not giving up on our vision of a more just and equitable world, where everybody has what they need to thrive. May it be so. May we be the ones who make it so. Amen. Thank you. Please rise in body and or spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, number 170, We Are a Gentle, Angry People. We will sing verses 1, 2, 4, and 1 again. I invite you now to rest your hands upon your heart or clasp hands with those you're sharing your life with, and hear this benediction inspired by a prayer written by Reverend Sean Parker Dennison. May we be courageous and committed in these times. May our anger transform our ideals into actions, our words into deeds. May it spark in us a spirit of creative destruction, tearing down systems that only serve the select few instead of the common good. May the fire of our passion for collective liberation burn brightly in us, and may it lead our way on the path of making room for more justice, more compassion, and more love in this world. Go forth, gentle, angry people, and seek justice.